welcome. I am going to be doing another part of my deep dive into the ACOTAR series. We are going to refresh one thing, or like actually mention one thing I forgot to mention in the previous video, but I did put it on the screen, but we are going to talk about that. And then we're going to be talking about a lot of chapters and a lot of pages. I decided when I was reading this book that so many chat goals I'm just not going to talk about because this is not a recap. And they don't apply to the chat goals, and they don't apply for what we are looking for, so we're not going to do every 5 chapters. In fact, this video is going to be from chapters 11 to 23, pages 95 to 212. That's a lot, but that is okay. And that doesn't even include going back to talk about the blight. But I decided on this. Um, I am also, now I don't want people to hear this and go, you're discontinuing it. In fact, that's not what's happening. I found out that some stuff that I'm looking for is in the Throne of Glass series. And then potentially for Nessa's book, there is stuff in the Crescent City book that is going to like apply or make everything make more sense, like in Crescent City, but for Crescent City to Nessa's book, if that makes sense. So I have this wild reading order that no one suggests me doing. I kind of just made up, and so I'm not discontinuing it, but I want to know all the magic system I possibly can so that way I can have the best theories or what is happening here um, in this deep dive. So with that, I have finished Throne of Glass. I have finished book 1 of ACOTAR, so ACOTAR. I have finished I have finished Throne of Glass, and I am on Crown of Midnight. I will read Assassin's Blade after this, and then I'll come back for Aquamath. But you may not even notice besides me talking about the books. So that's not like an update of like what's happening right now. Um, so let's get into this. Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. We are in the thick of it. Okay, so also if you need a refresher what the chakra is or what we are looking for, I should put on the screen. Yeah, you could also go and watch the Before the Dive, which I'm going to be explaining as best as I can what we are looking for. So I forgot to mention this, but on page 72 and 73, Tamlin tells Feyre about this blight that is going around Prithian. And it's not a disease, and it's not a plague, and it's not an illness, but something, for almost 50 years now. He does describe it as a sickness, though, so I'm like, which one is it, Tamlin? Is it a sickness? Is it an illness? Like, sickness and illness usually go hand in hand. But in this, it doesn't. But it spreads slowly, and that's why she's not seeing, or one of the reasons why she's not seeing a lot of people heal, because they all like kind of fled. And because of this, his power is diminished, and it can haunt humans. Now, the only reason why I view this as actually important here, besides like plot relevance, is because we need to remember that a High Lord's powers, at least until this blight is gone, is not going to be at their strongest. Um, so, well, potentially, right? Because it just says his powers, right? But if if one's powers can be diminished, it would stand to reason that maybe these High Lords, because since he's a High Fae, that can also be diminished as well. I left off pretty mean, but that's how the chapter left off. Um, and that is her thinking that she saw her dad. It was not. There was a fairy called a Puka, Puka, and basically she was stopped before it got to her. She got to it, and she realized it was not her dad, and it kept on like changing forms too. So we can add that to the dangerous fairy category here. So from pages 114 to 117, there are 3 paintings, and it's basically like the origin story, how humans started to fight back, and then after and like the forming of the wall. It is here when we learn the different courts of the land, right? And she looks at this. She looks at Night Court, which is like at the top, right, of the continent. And she's like, I'm never gonna go there. Weird, interesting, weird. She gets triggered because Tamlin's like, I can teach you how to, how to write, or like I can help you write home because she wants to write home to tell her family something's wrong. But she obviously needs help with that. Um, she goes to Lucian, my gosh, and she asks for the Suriel again. And remember, this is a fairy that will tell you the truth. You just gotta capture it. You just gotta capture it. They'll deadly. But yeah, they can like basically tell you like anything you want to know. Again, all you gotta do is capture it. So he basically all of a sudden decides, I'm gonna put her in danger. Lucian does. Um, and Lucian gives her a weapon and tells her where to go and how to catch this being. He's really, I guess, in like down times because he's like, initially he's like, don't do it, you're gonna get yourself killed. Now he's like, you can do it and you can get yourself killed. I want to mention at this point, she does not know who the High Lord of the Spring Court is. um, and like she honestly in chapter 14, page 125, she asks, or she thinks of a really good question, which is like, do High Lords in the Fae in that area and get tired of their own domain? Like the spring gets tired of spring every day. Um, and this is also when I wonder though, when does it rain? Because so far it has not shown it rains. Like the whole like April showers bring May flowers. Where is the rain is my question. Right. She catches him, page 126, but here's when like the actual trackle and information comes forth. This is gonna be lore time. But before lore time, basically, right, Farrah catches it. And he's just like, or they're just like, hey, so which one of my brethren told you how to catch me? She lies. And she's like, my mother told me stories. So none of them did. And he's like, you're a liar. That's a lie. And it's true. But like, we gotta respect her trying to protect Lucian here. Um, but we're gonna get to a point in which how I'm going to describe the Suriel, see so funny, is think Niklaus Michelson vibes, specifically in the Vampire Diaries when Klaus is like holding Elena, against her will, and she's like being depleted of blood. Spoilers, I'm so sorry, spoilers for Vampire Diaries. And in it, right, he's just like, just between us girls, who have you have chosen? That is the vibe of the Suriel for me, because 128, the Suriel lets the cat out of the bag. He's like, oh, so like, paraphrasing here obviously, like, oh yeah, so like, what did your like High Lord Tamlin, you know, what did he, what does he want to know? What do you want to know about your High Lord? Basically something along those lines. I did not write down the exact. I guess I can look for it. Hold on. I didn't. I saw that and I was like, messy. Okay, you ready for this? It's so messy. Because she says, what do you know about Tamlin? And he's like, be more specific, human. More specific, human. Be more specific. For I know a good many things about the High Lord of the Spring Court. They are messy, and I love it. I love it. Like, give me more mess. Give me it. Right. Um, and and that's when I knew I was gonna like this character. She's shocked. Okay, well, like, is there a way that she can like go home basically with like is there a way out of this treaty? And the Suriel tells her the only way she can go back home is if she seeks to be killed and her family too. She must remain there. Specifically, must remain there. Um, in Prithian, right? So this means the Truth Fairy, that's described as the Truth Fairy, is saying if she goes back and crosses the wall, then she should be killed. Her family should be killed. So she has to remain in Prithian. Okay, we have set the tone. So that means what the Truth Fairy says, if she crossed that wall, her and her family would be dead if, if the treaty's not met, basically, I guess. Okay. So the Suriel is also a chatty Cathy. The Suriel is a chatty Cathy. And you know what? That's okay because so am I, and that's okay. But then this is like the lore dump if there was ever a lore dump. And I feel like what the Suriel does over and over and over again is just shove so much information at you that you then miss important information. I feel like that's what's happening. Truly. Like, it's not an Aes Sedai lie, but I feel like it's like, it's brethren. It's like, you know. um, okay, so, we then learn spring, summer, autumn, winter, dawn, day, and night are the seven, um, domains. We already knew this. Uh, we learn Prithian, has high lords, all of them deadly in their own way. They are not powerful. They are power. Okay, so we gotta keep that in mind. And also, we gotta go all the way back to the Blight conversation, which is his power is diminished. So whatever this Blight is affecting high lords, who are power. We also know the Suriel has no coin. But the Suriel is older than the High Lords, older than Prithian, older than the bones of this world. Page 128. She basically asks what can be done about this fight. Um, what can be done? What can be done? Where did it come from? Like, where did it come from? Cotton Eye Joe? Like, all that kind of stuff, right? Uh, here is the answer, page 129. And it's basically, it says, and like this is one of the most important things. We gotta turn on our ears because when I tell you, this is one of the most important things, and this quote specifically is either used to prove cases or disprove cases in like this stand-up. This quote is so important. I cannot stress this enough, especially if you have no idea about this quote, anything about this. You need to know what this quote is. Okay, and it's meant to be two because it gets broken up. But this is all the dialogue from this. Okay. Okay. They will answer right about what can be done. What can she do about this? What can be done? Stay with the High Lord, human. That is all you can do. You will be safe. Do not interfere. Do not go looking for answers after today, or you will be devoured by the shadow over Prithian. He will shield you from it, so stay close to him and all will be righted. Okay, so High Lord, very important. We we know that whoever he is talking about, whoever the story is talking about, has to be a High Lord. Right. So we are assuming that that is Tamlin. That is all you can do. Just stay with him. Don't interfere. Don't do anything. Just stay with him. Um, or she'll be devoured by the shadow over Prithian, who could, maybe we can look at geography a little bit there, I'm just saying. um, where did the black come from? This is a long, and this is when I said, does the Suriel yap so much so you stop paying attention? Said with love, with a heart, and I mean that. I mean that. I mean that's beautiful. That's beautiful and an amazing way to, stop people from asking questions. I am not going to read all of what this person says. Basically, there was highball, right? Someone I think right. Highball has a king. King doesn't want humans to be freed. Um, she's shocked that like there's a king, and he's like ruled by a wicked, powerful king, right? But in Highborn, there's no more humans. There's no humans. Well, I mean, apart from the bones that his throne is made out of, right? Right. So no more living humans. 100 years ago, he dispatched his most trusted and loyal commandos, his deadliest warriors, remnants of his ancient army that once sailed to the continent they are on, in the brutal war against humans, meaning the war in which the humans fought for their freedom after 1,000 years of enslavement. Um, Now, these people that came over, they are they came as spies and courtiers, excuse me, and rebels, and they infiltrated the high fae courts, right? And then around 50 years ago, um, um, when basically most of the like powerful fae gathered, one of his commandos dis obeyed him, and the deceiver, and cut off. They're being attacked. Who's attacking them? um, that's pages 129 to 130. Um, and she sets him free. Sets him free, and then she's running from something called the Naga. Um, don't worry, Tamlin saves her, but she does lie about why she's out there. She basically says like, um, not knowing how far she went out. And I'm like, you should tell him. We also learn that the bogs bite. Remember the bog, like, Tamlin went out to, like, deal with the bog. We learn that bogs bites slow down a High Lord's magic. Why is that important? Well, we now know Tamlin's a High Lord, right? And we also know specifically that now there is this weapon or this thing that is created that is specifically designed to slow down their healing so that, they can, off them basically. So that means something engineered something to make it so they're not power anymore. Maybe they're just powerful. Found out that Faye can lie. So this whole time in which Feyre is saying like, oh, they can't lie, they can't lie, we in fact find out they can lie, and that's why I kept on saying the truth teller for the Suriel, because the Suriel, they're the ones that don't lie. They're the ones I believe like they can't. But that's not like explicitly like said at this point, I believe, but like they these they don't lie. But we also with Alice that like High Fae have a hard time having children. Um, so page 141, Lucian says that Fae can lie. Ion does nothing to them. The only thing that will do something to them is Ashwood. And Tamlin's like, well, we never willingly lied to. Important. I said I lied. He's not saying they didn't lie before. just that they willingly didn't. The humans and Fae fought together to free humans, and Talon's like, well, like, you wouldn't have won if we didn't. Which I wonder if that's true or not, or if that's like, accurate. But we also know that Talon, he was a child when it was happening, so he couldn't fight because again, he was a kid. um, but if he could, if he was Odal, he would have fought against the enslavement and tyranny. He is like, I don't support that. And like we have it again, he does not support enslavement. And like bare minimum, I feel that's bare minimum. I feel. We also go on page 145, Talon's like, hey, yeah, no, I glamored your family. They think you're off, taking care of a family member. Like, full sign of trouble, they're gonna run. Right, and they're well taken care of. She has to paint. There's an art gallery who's gonna like clean it. So basically, there are two lies in this chapter for chapter 17, right? And that is, there was this fairy from Semmel. His rings are torn off, and she lies 2 times in this scene. Do I think she did the wrong thing by lying? No. There's going to be a lot of lies from here on out that I think it was a good thing that she lied. It was a good thing. She should have lied. But lies are lies. And we're counting how many times she lies. Right. So even though I agree with some of these lies that will come up, I'm still going to count them. Right. So basically, we had this injured, dying fairy from Semmel. Tamlin's trying to comfort him, and Lucian, he can't be though, right? So he dips. Like it is very gruesome. It's very bad. I had to put this book down and be like, okay, I'm done reading for the night. Because so basically Feyre is just like, can you heal him? And this is very important. We get I at one point I could have. I once could have. But I can't now. So that means a High Lord could heal someone from the point almost of death because he is about to die. Feyre lies and says to him that everything will be okay. Now some might say that that lie is like not necessarily a lie because maybe after this fairy dies, things will be okay. She didn't know that. That's a lie. That's a lie. The other one, um, in 152 is um, you'll get them back. And that is referring to because he just keeps on saying over and over again, my ring. She took my rings. And so she says you get them back. And then he's no longer there. So she wants to like help him bury, and he's like, no, you're not coming with me. Restricting her movement. He does say like he wants to be alone when he like gives him his respects. So the next day we get some more. Right, we also get a lie. Feyre in this lies in a joking way, yes, but it's a lie technically. Technically, I'm looking at things as is this truthful, is this not? That's what we're looking at for is it a lie or is it not? Because from what I was told with myths, that is how it is. It is gotta be very careful when you speak, and even though this is a joke, it is technically a lie. Which is page 158. They are talking about what the Suriel said to Paul. And she makes a joke about basically how to tame him. Is it funny? Sure. Is it alright? Yeah. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. We also get page 157. Talon has green eyes and amber flecks. I was informed that is an important magic thing. It's not, I think, explained in this series at all yet. But okay, so I want to point that out. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means because I haven't read that series. But I was told it is a potential indicator of magic. Or it is an indicator of magic. We also get a lore on um, Lucian and about the mating bond. Okay, so basically, here's lore on Lucian. So Lucian once fell in love with a girl. Now here's the thing. He's a high fae. His dad is a High Lord of Autumn Court. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he is the youngest of 7 brothers. All of them bad. No, honestly, they are probably really bad. Like the dad's like really bad. The brothers really bad. So he fell in love. Lucian fell in love with this girl. She's not high fed. Dad said, once he found out, um, so basically the plan was to wait for the mating bond to snap. And that's kind of what we get so far in this. The mating bond snaps into place. Okay. But like he was like in love with her. The dad killed her, and the 2 eldest brothers held him down or back as that happened, and he was forced to watch. After um like after they found out that he planned on marrying her, tense relationship with his brothers, and his dad. It reminds me of A Song of Ice and Fire. It does. It truly does. Maybe there was influence there, or maybe that's just like the first thing that came to my mind. Um, so basically, that's on page 160. On page 161, we find out that Lucian crossed into um, Spring Court, into Tamlin's Court, after he had become a High Lord, right? His brothers tried to kill him, 3 of them. Lucian unalived one, Tamlin another one, and the third one ran off. And Tamlin made Lucian his emissary. The whole reason for this is he was just like, why is there a dispute at my border? I don't want my court to have to deal with this. And so, and then I guess he just like Lucian. I don't know. Um, so also legend claims that the pool that they were swimming in at this point, it was swimming anyways. If they drank from it, they would be happy until the last breath. So I'm just like, um, hey. So is that like you would die? You would be happy until you drowned? Like, does it like take you under and like drown you, or is it like um at your last breath everything is crashing back, and is like the last horrible breath ever? Like what is the shenanigans around this? Because it can't be purely good, right? Um, Feyre thinks about the fantasy again with her family. We've gone chapter 1. And she has a mean thought. She calls Tamlin the High Lord of Foolery because I think she's triggered. I'm unsure. Now I'm gonna do a little conspiracy theory. I don't have a hat. Okay. Oh wait, not a conspiracy theory, but like I have a theory. What if Lucian is going to be the High Lord of Autumn? I don't know. I've never read Nestor's book, and I also don't really remember a lot that happens as well in the later books. So I just think, and since it's like, ongoing, why mention he is um, a child of the High Lord of the Autumn Court if he's not potentially in the ring? to be one of them. Because there was 7, 2 of them are dead. He's one of them. So there was only 4 other people at the beginning of the story, or at least right now, that could be a potential High Lord. And like we don't know how it's chosen because like there's going to be one that's going to be like inherit, but like we don't know how that happens. So there was 4 of them, 4 brothers and him, so it was 5. So why can't it be the youngest one? Because it's described that like Talon could not like hold back his like people saying that he kept on growing in strength. But anyways, um, I'm gonna give one little mean point because on page 163, Feyre compares Tamlin and Isaac's body. So comparing like a human body to Tamlin, and she kind of does this a lot. She kind of compares Isaac to him a lot, and one might say like it's simply because um, she was with Isaac and now she wants to go with Tamlin and that like so she's just thinking about it. But it's something so much, and now that it's getting to the point of literally comparing their bodies, I don't think that's like fair to do even if they're human. I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm giving a mean point. Tamlin makes a mean comment and I literally make a post, like a video about this. And I'm just like, Tamlin, you are lucky that I am not giving you a mean point trackle. So Tamlin makes a mean comment saying that he assumed that basically that she came from wealth because only someone from wealth could have her diction because uh, they weren't born peasants, basically. What do you this? What do you mean? What do you mean poor people don't have the same diction as people with money? Because some might even claim that that is wrong. There has been many videos and documentaries and stuff like that in which they put the kids that have money in bad situations and they can't manage it. And that's also insulting. Just like everyone. Like that's also insulting her, right? But she agrees. She agrees. She's like, I can't stand with that. Wouldn't it pick me? Tamlin and Feyre, though, in the garden, she's having a sad girl moment, right? We learn about the mating. Well, actually, at this point, before the main thought, we don't really learn about the mating bond, but we learn that the gardens that they're in was a gift that his dad gave to his mom because as like a mating bond present. Oh my gosh! Imagine being mated to like a literal monster. A literal monster. I mean, I'd be like, Cheyenne, you're being dramatic. He didn't want the treaty to be signed. The thing that in the treaty it says like you can't slave humans. He didn't want that. He was on Highborn side. She thinks that she's no better than the children of the blessed. She thinks Nesta. So at this point, she thinks Nesta scratched off the paint. In the last video, I confused that this is when it happened. It's actually now. Page 171. That's when she thinks this. I think, like, why do you think that she did this? And then she thinks that Talon's family would have loved each other enough that a family member would offer themselves up in his place if someone steals him away. And he's like, someday I'll tell you the truth, or like the full truth. Her sisters didn't kill the wolf. She did. She did. She was not stolen. She was. I know, because there's so many myths of like human women being stolen. That's not this. She was not stolen. Oh, but like it's a choice between that and death. She wasn't stolen because she chose to do it. She chose to fire that arrow into Andrea. Well, into Andreas. She chose to do that. He did not fight. He didn't stop. Probably could have. He didn't. She did that. Seems like the person that has the short end of the stick is probably them because they have to live in a glamour. Their mind is being messed with. Well, hers is not. Let's talk about the mating bond, page 160, no, 175 to 176. So Talon says that, some family get married, most family get married, but some have mates. And this mating bond is like their mate is their equal, right? Their mate is their equal, and they'll match in every way. If they are married before finding, or whatever happens, the snapping of the bond in place. If they're married before that, their marriage is like insignificant. Like, okay, soulmates. It's soulmates. Um, but we learn. This is when we learn, page 176, that Talon's dad was like Lucian's, very bad. Brothers, bad, bad. Whole family, bad. The mom, never said a mean word against him, and Talon believes it's because of the mating bond. If they're equals in every way, if they're equals and they're matched in every way, so they are equals and they are a match in every way. Why doesn't the mom read the same what's happening? Talon left to become a royal. He was not supposed to be the High Lord. But his magic kept on growing and growing and growing, and you can't hide that with other fairies. You can't do it, so he couldn't hide it. Right? And basically that's when we learned that an enemy High Lord or an enemy court came and killed his family. Yeah. So then he became the High Lord, and it was a rough transition of power. We learned about Fire Knight. Wow! It was the Great Right, but what's the Great Right? I'm not telling you. But basically every year it has to be done. I I can't pronounce it. It's Fire Knight. That's also what they call it. Tamlin says she has to stay in her chambers for this, restricting her movement. He must partake, and she thinks like it has to be violent. Fire Knight. She's like, so am I invited? And he's like, no, you're not invited, right? Again, restricts her movement, like I said. It's like, why am I not invited? This one thing, even though I've been invited to literally everything. I have like basically had the run of the castle. And there's one thing, Beauty and the Beast, what are you telling? There's one thing. Anyways, so all of a sudden the mood stills, everything is quiet, something dangerous has entered. Glimmer! He's told to hide. And something comes. An unknown voice talks about a she and wonders why he hasn't given up. He calls him the High Lord. Again, so far, everyone's referred to him as the High Lord. Right? And now this is something outside of his court. They threaten to take Tamlin in spring, basically by force. It mentions that Tamlin has a heart of stone. This is another time, that it's been mentioned that he has a heart of stone. And then once this creature leaves, that's called the Adder, Lucian's like, oh, did they see Farah? And Tamlin's like, nah. But like Tamlin's like mood has like completely has gone, and he's like, I'll see you at dinner. Fire Night. She's supposed to stay in her room. 10 p.m. she leaves for the party. This one thing. She goes and actually she sees fairies that don't have their masks on, meaning they're not from spring. 3 fairies. They surround her. But before anything can happen, a man shows up and basically saves her. These 3 fairies are scared of him. What? Yeah, they're like real scared of him. And she has this thought of it being um, like basically is she trading something like one bad for another, something like that. I can't necessarily remember um what specifically she says with it, but it reminds me of like the devil you know type thing. Um, so now we're gonna get into the lies of chapter 21. And these are the lies that I believe that she should have said. Right. This is not passing judgment and saying that she shouldn't have lied like this. I would have lied like this. Most people would lie like this, especially after being surrounded by three others. Right? And now they leave because they're afraid of this person. So he's like, what are you doing now? And she's like, my friends uh brought me. And he's like, oh, and who are your friends? She's like, two ladies. And he's like, what are their names? He's also just like, aren't you like afraid of your friend? Basically, are you afraid of them? Like, how long have you known them? Type thing. Um, and she's like, oh, I've known them my whole life, and I have nothing to feel from them, right? And that they have gone for refreshments. She made a mistake there because she didn't know where the refreshments are. And unfortunately, he knows that the refreshments are far away from home. What happens is the best case scenario, which is he respects her not wanting anything to do with him. He respects these obvious lies. And he doesn't he's like I'm basically he's like I'm not gonna force conversation, like she's obviously lying to me. The best case scenario. That is four lies though, so we're at four now. He offers to take her to safety, right? To take her somewhere, right? And then she refuses, and again he does the best case scenario thing, page 191, and he's like, "Stay out of trouble." And he starts to walk away, but she then starts asking questions. So she's like, "So you're not from Spring?" He's like, "Spring." Okay, you still get steal. You still get steal. um, and this he says that this is the night that all the monsters are let out of the cages. She leaves. She leaves. Oh, they'll let out the cages until dawn. Until dawn. She leaves. She runs into Lucian. And he's like, "What are you doing here? You can't be here. You can't be here." Takes her back to the manor. This is when we learn what the great right is. And this is why one of the reasons why we say it's adult. The great right is a way that the High Lord, in this case Spring, um, you know, retold the magic. It rejuvenates the magic of the lamps. And so how that happens is he has to go hunt down a stag, I believe, or like he has to go hunt an animal. And then after it, he'll be so magicified, so high lordified that his mind no longer there. He's all magic. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I promise you, I'm not kidding. And this is actually probably the best way I can describe this actually. And then so after that he has to go find a maiden. You know what he has to do. Um You know what he has to do. You know what he has to do. Um, and basically it's like he's like kind of on stuff, on magic. Um, and he's like, okay, now I have to like go so that he doesn't kind of like find you because he's gonna smell you. He's gonna think like, you're there. Lucian says that yeah, it's for the High Lord, but other fairies participate and do things. Okay. And he's like, that's what we told you to stay in the room. Page 195. She leaves her room again, 2 a.m. Music's done though. She's real hungry. She runs into Tamlin. Nothing really happens, but she does have a mark on her neck for some reason. After that, uh, half mad of magic, it is described, and like the things that he is acting and saying does not seem like Tamlin. And that's after it was completed. Page 200, they're fighting. They're fighting because of the night before. Um, and then they make up, right? They're no longer fighting. We learn that magic, page 202, used to be easy, and now it's like just not. Um, she shows Tamlin her art because they've forgiven themselves, all that kind of stuff. Tamlin and Vera both get jealous over each other, page 205. Um, he basically learns her traumatic history by like the paintings because again she was like you can go look at my paintings in the gallery right that she did um, for the paintings that he gave her and in this page 206 to 207 he's like I am so selfish because I can't send you away, I can't break the treaty. Chapter 23 is them floating. I'm not going to get into it much. There is on TikTok a dramatic reenactment that I did on a live. I didn't have my glasses on. I was trying to read this, so you can go to TikTok, find the dramatic reenactment of it. Chat was loving it, was eating it up. But basically they're floating, and it's not the best. It's not the best floating. Um, I honestly kind of describe it. I literally said on live, I was literally like, what in the Wattpad is this? She makes a deal with Tamlin saying that if she kisses him, he will basically give her a way to like remove the glamour. It's like the magic, like she'll actually see things as he sees them, right? And like, he um get like he allows her to see and heal and all that kind of stuff. He's like, what's my kiss? And so she kisses his hand. And then they fall asleep, and he whispers as she's falling asleep, "You're exactly as I dreamed you to be." And darkness swallowed everything. um, that is chapters 11 to chapter 23. How many times she was called a lie and the mean counter. Okay, so last video there was 3 lies, 9 lies are added. So that is 12 lies that Feyre has told. She was called out previously 3 times in the last video, or added up in the last video. And now we add a 1 more lie counter because a Suriel called her lie out. So now she is at called out for lies 3 times. I'm also saying called a liar adds into it for the future, so I will mention that. And then the mean counter is going to be going up by 5. I kind of I kind of stopped doing the perceived as mean. I'm gonna be honest. So we'll see if I pick that up in the next one. I probably will. I just needed to like sometimes when she's being mean, she just thinks it. But I hope that you have enjoyed this video for chapters 11 to chapter 23, page 95 to page 212. Hope you enjoyed this video and goodbye.